All right, I think we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Kyle, AA0Z, and thanks for everyone that came over from the FT8 off. Appreciate it. We are going to basically build a Raspberry Pi tonight and get it ready for loading some Node-RED. If you have not done the pre-work, I'm going to go over the pre-work that was in the Node-RED, ham radio for Node-RED groups IO. The link is in the description below. And if you click on that link, it's going to take you over to this training class number 1, January 6th, 8 p.m. Central, Image Your Pi pre-work. So, yeah, we're going to go real slow tonight, and we're just going to get this thing ready to be loaded for Node-RED. And so if you go over to this link, I basically put together a primer on downloading the Raspberry Pi imager and getting it ready. So we're going to go over that real quick. So the first thing you're going to do is go over to the raspberrypi.com/software, and you're going to click on the download for Windows or the download for Mac or Ubuntu or whichever operating system you are using, and it's going to download. You're going to extract that download, you're going to install that download, and it's going to come up to, and you're going to launch that, and it's going to come to this screen. So this is your main screen that you're going to do all your configuration in to download an image and put it on an SD card. Therefore, you'll put it in the Pi and it will boot. So once you get the image up, or I'm sorry, the program up, you want to choose the OS, which is this button right here. So you'll choose the OS and you'll go into Raspberry Pi OS 32-bit. I would suggest not to go into the 64-bit or choose the 64-bit. I would choose the 32-bit, even though the Pi is a 64-bit processor. I would choose the 32-bit. So you're going to choose Raspberry Pi OS 32-bit, and then you're going to insert your SD card into your computer. It's going to do a bunch of things. It's going to tell you that it's not formatted. It's going to probably tell you what do you want to do with this drive after you plug the drive in. Just ignore those, close those windows out. After the SD card is inserted and Windows identifies it, it should come up and show you your SD card. I've got a 16 gig card that I imaged on this particular process. You might have a 32-bit, you might have a 64-bit, but I had a 16 gig. I'm sorry, might have a 64 gig. I had a 16 gig, so I chose the SDHC card here. It's the only one that I could pick. And then after I picked that, it went back to the main menu. And here is the secret sauce on the Raspberry Pi imager. You hit Control-Shift-X at the same time, and it brings you up into this advanced options window. This is where you can set the host name. So I set mine to Raspberry Pi. I enabled SSH. So SSH is secure shell. We are going to use that to get into the Pi after we boot it up and do some configuration. So I enabled SSH. I used password authentication and then set the password for the Pi user. That's the default user. And I chose a password, entered that password in. You scroll down through the advanced options, you're going to get to configure Wi-Fi, so you can configure your Wi-Fi from here. So my SSID is beer here at the house, and my password, I put my password in, and then You got to go down here to Wi-Fi country and choose US. If you're in the US, you want to choose GB. If you're in Great Britain, you'll want to choose AU. If you're in Australia, so choose the correct country that you're in. I set the local settings. So I'm in St. Louis, so I chose America, Chicago. So you want to choose your time zone. Keyboard layout, US. And I left this skip first one run wizard off. And I think that was the default. Eject media when finished. That was the default. And I click save. And it's going to come back to this screen right here. This default screen should say Raspberry Pi OS 32-bit. Should say SDHC card. And you click right. And it's going to say, well, it's going to write the card. So it's going to go through the progress. So it's going to show you, 10, 15, 20%. And then it is going to come back after it verifies. And it's going to say you can remove the SD card. If you're in Windows, you might get this weird error after you complete the Raspberry Pi imaging process. And it says you need to format the disk in E before you can use it. Just hit cancel. And after you do that, you can remove the SD card. And there you've got a freshly imaged SD card for your Raspberry Pi. What you also need on this tutorial is Putty. So if you go to, there's a link in the description down below. If you click on that link, it will take you to the Putty website. This is the long installer, but if you click on Putty, it should putty.org, O-R-G. It will take you to the Putty website. And you can download Putty here. So you can click on here. It's going to take you to the package files. And I would suggest just clicking on this Putty 64-bit 0.76 installer of the time of this video. Or if you've got an old 32-bit system, you probably want to choose the 32-bit. But you can download the exes directly from here. And save it on your computer and install it. So we are now to the point where we can boot the Pi up on the network and start doing some configuration. So let me bring up Putty here. So this is after you install Putty. This is what the screen looks like. It is a terminal program that allows you to telnet, rlogin, SSH, serial. It does a bunch of things. It is a good utility for getting into your Pi. So I just imaged my Pi here. Let me go to my overhead shot. My Pi is sitting right here, if you can see it. So I'm going to plug my Pi in with a brand new image with my Ethernet cord plugged in, if you can see that. And let's see. And the light lights up. I don't know if you can see it, but it is booting. We're going to give that a little bit of time to boot up. And what you'll need to do in order to figure out the IP address, well, you can do this two ways. You can get into your router. Typically, your home router might be 192.168.1.1, or you might have a host name that you get into your router. You can get into your router and figure out what your IP address is, or you can wait for it to boot up and hopefully the host name on this Pi that you gave it. So if you come back here to the host name, on this example, I used raspberrypi.local or raspberrypi.local. And I think that I used a different name. I think I did Node-RED test on this guy. So We can try getting into your host name here through Putty, but I'm going to show you if I get into my router setup. 2002, at the moment I'm using a keyboard monitor with my Pi. Will the Putty info transfer to the console? Actually, Cyan 2002, what you can do is after we're going to Putty into it, we're going to SSH into it, you're going to see pretty much the same thing that we see. You're going to have to bring up a terminal window, and we weren't going to get into that, but if you are, tell me in the chat if you are booted into X Windows or it looks like a Windows program. If it is, we need to do some more work. But you can Putty into your Raspberry Pi even if it, even if you're connected through a keyboard and monitor through another computer. Or you can, if you're at the command prompt with your keyboard and monitor and you're not running Windows or X Windows or GNOME or KDE or the GUI interface, you can type the commands that we're going to do directly into your Pi. So Don says, what do you mean to transfer to the console? The username and password is the same for Putty and console, if that's what you mean. Yeah, so some of the guys are talking about what you can do to kind of get around that. So why don't you just follow along, try and follow along, and see if it you're running the GUI. Okay, so if you're running the GUI, you need to, somebody can help me because I don't run X Windows. I typically, yeah, I know. I'm getting a, let me go to my screen here. So you'll need to open a command or a terminal window in that X Windows. Somebody can, in the chat, hopefully can discuss how to open a terminal window whenever you boot into Windows through on the Pi. All right, so here are all the devices on my network, and I'm not seeing. I named this Node Red Test, or at least I thought I did. I don't know if you can see all of the devices. I don't care if you can see what the devices' names are. Who cares? Let's see. There was one down here that said Raspberry Pi and was up for 2 minutes. Maybe I did name it Raspberry Pi. 192.168.1.114. So let's... Paul, we're live. Refresh. Paul, refresh your browser. Yeah, sometimes YouTube doesn't start the stream. So I think. Let's try 192.168.1.14. So I'm going to ping this guy. So I'm going to come down here to my search, and I'm going to type CMD. And I'm going to bring up a command prompt on Windows here. Okay? I'm going to type the word ping. And I'm going to ping the IP address of what I think my Raspberry Pi is. So 192.168.1.114. And I'm going to hit enter. And it comes back to me, and it says that it replied from 192.168.1.114, 32 bytes, less than 1 millisecond, time to live 64. So I know that that is a machine that is up and running on my network. Okay, so we're gonna assume that is the Raspberry Pi that I'm looking at right here that I just plugged in. If you named it something else, it might show up. You know, if you named it Node-RED, I would look in your somewhere in your router. It's going to show you a table of devices. You'll want to go into that table and look for that host name. All right. So now I'm going to take my Putty window, and let me get back to my screen here. So I launched Putty here, and in the host name, I'm going to type in 192.168.1.114. Okay. The connection type, I'm going to keep that as SSH. I'm going to make sure that this port is 22. That's the default port for SSH. And then I'm going to click Open. And what's going to happen is this security alert is going to pipe up. Pop up. And you want to click on yes. That is just verifying that the fingerprint and the SSH keys are being exchanged. So you'll want to click on yes whenever you get to this screen. And now you should have a screen that looks like this that says login as. I know that's small. I can't really get that any bigger on Putty. If somebody knows how to get the text bigger on Putty, let me know. Throw it in the chat there. So remember, whenever we set the Pi up in those advanced options, we set the password for the user Pi. So we're going to log in as Pi, PI, and hit enter. It's going to say Pi at 192.168.1.114's password. I did the IP address here. You can put the host name that you used. And I'm going to log in. And now I'm in. You can see it gave it a host name as Node-RED test, but my router did not pick up on that host name for some odd reason. That's very typical of home routers, not getting the host name from devices. So don't be alarmed if you can't find the host name in your router under the settings. Now, what you might want to do is, if your router has got something called DHCP reservation, you might want to go in and find your device and put a DHC reservation on the Raspberry Pi so it gets the same IP address over and over and over whenever you reboot it over and over. So whenever that Pi will boot up, it will get the same IP address. So therefore, you only have to remember the IP address if your DNS host name doesn't work. Hopefully you can just type in the host name in that Putty screen, and it should show up. So what I'm going to do is, now that I know that it's 114, I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to launch Putty again. And I'm going to type in Node-RED test, just for spite here. And I'm going to make sure it's connected to SSH, port 22, and I'm going to click open. Oh, it found it. Look at that. the reason why it gave me another key error is because it cached those keys with the IP address of 192.168.1.114. Because I used the host name, it says that it thinks it's a different device. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes here. It's going to come up as login as, and I'm going to type in Pi. I'm going to plug in my username, and here I am in again. Pi at Node-RED test. For those of you who are logged in and you see the Windows screen, if you get into a terminal session within your Windows screen, you should see something that looks like this, where it's got a command prompt and you're ready to type commands in. So give me I'm good. If you got a question, put it in the chat. But I'm just trying to feel the pulse here of where everyone's at. Did they get this far? Do they have issues? Do they not have issues? Are things going okay? Cyan 2002 says good. What else is everybody? Is everyone else good? Good. Richard's good. I'm glad that people are getting in. Good to go. Mark's good to go. All right. Edward is good to go. All right, Edward. Ron, thanks, Ron, for being out there. Actually, I'm going to make Ron a moderator. Add a moderator. So Ron is now a moderator. Kyle, to make Putty larger, right-click on the top of the window and change settings, Windows, and let me change the size of the font. I had no idea you could. You say, right-click on the top of the window, change settings. All right, so let me change settings. Change settings, change settings, change settings. And then you can come down here and let's see. Appearance? Oh, hang on. Let's make this 14 point. Apply. How about that? Is that better? Let's make it even bigger. Change settings. Let's make it 16 point. Appearance. Change. Okay. Apply. Oh, I like that. How about that? Yep. Got it. Got it, Ron. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. That should be a little bit better on the eyes here. Select window on the left. Select window on the left. Oh, yeah. Yep, got it. Got it. Okay. Good deal. All right. So we are in Putty. And Don says you can make that permanent by changing it the way the Putty launcher and saving the IP address. Yes. Good idea, Don. All right. Just for spite here, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 commands that you might want to learn and type in. The first one is, now, here's another thing. If you did not set up your password, whenever you log in as Pi, the default password for the Pi user is Raspberry. Okay, in all lowercase, Raspberry. To change your password, for Raspberry Pi, which you should do immediately after you log in, is you should change your password to something that is not Raspberry. You type in PASSWD, that will give you the prompt to change your password. So I suggest you change the default Raspberry Pi password if you have not already done that. Another good command that you might want to type in is ls, short for lis. And that will give you all of the files and the directories that are currently in the current directory that you are located in. You can do an ls-la, and that will kind of give you a detailed view of all of the files in that directory. And then you can do a pwd, which stands for present working directory, if you ever get lost, and it will tell you what directory you are in. We are currently in the home/pi directory. Don says ls tac flag. I don't know what ls. So it gives you kind of the same thing, but shows the forward slashes, I see. All right. You can type clear to clear your screen. So what we're going to do is over on the Node-RED for Ham Radio web page, I'm sorry, Groups.io. You go to the main homepage here. You can come down here to Wiki. And there are some wikis that have been put together. We are going to click on this Node-RED and .NET for 32-bit Raspberry Pi OS. And that's going to get us into the wiki here. So I'm going to wait. And everyone give me the thumbs up. Give me the okay that you've made it this far. We only have a few things to do to get this thing ready for install of Node-RED. And you're going to be pretty disappointed on how uneventful loading Node-RED is. I don't think we're going to get that far today. We're just going to get the Pi set up, and we're going to get everything going here. Kevin says, okay. Where's my other peeps saying okay? Trying to go slow here, trying to make sure everyone is good, and we don't have any outstanding questions. Edward says that he's good. I'm not really sure what that is. Is that a ghost with holding a tree? I don't know what that is. I can't see that far. I got a monitor that's way over there. Richard says okay. All right. We're moving on. All right. So, Don says, I need to upgrade to the latest Node-RED. Well, Don, you know how you do that is you just run the Node-RED installer again, right? Edward says, not sure. He doesn't know what that is. Yeah. I'm not really sure what that is too, Edward. All right. So we've gotten to the web page here, and we have already completed these steps right there. They're already done. Now, actually, we've done this one too. We've boot and configured the Pi. So, and we've done this. We've gotten either a terminal window open to that command prompt, or we have puttied into the system. Looks like we have logged in, and like I said, the default password is either Raspberry, or you have entered in the password that you entered in whenever you built and imaged the Pi, so we are good. So now we are going to get into Rasppi config. So let me come back to my command prompt on Node-RED, and I'm going to type in sudo, so that is super user do raspi -config, and it's going to bring me up to a screen that looks like this. Okay. So the Wiki says you can change the login password and network settings if you like. Select boot options, then desktop CLI. Use the arrows to move over and an enter key to select. Okay, so what that line means is you can use the enter keys or the up and the down arrow to go up and down, to come down here to select, or to finish. I'm using the tab. So seeing how I'm coming through, I'm hitting the tab button, and I'm rotating through the different options. See, it goes to red. Now I'm on finish. Now I'm back on option number 2. So you want to choose how you want to log in when you have a monitor attached. So this is going to apply to the people that have a monitor attached to the Pi. I'm assuming some of you, I think Cyan 2002 probably has already done this, but you can, let's see, I use desktop auto login, so the author, Dave, says that he uses desktop auto login. So he comes down to the interface options. So that's option number 3, and clicks enter. And then he comes down here to VNC, enable graphical remote access using real VNC. Hit enter, and it's going to come up to this screen. Would you like the VNC server to be enabled? You can tab over, so I'm hitting the tab button, and I'm going to say yes. And it's going to flash real fast. It's going to do some configuration. It's going to come back to this VNC server is enabled. The only thing you can choose is OK, and you click OK. Okay, we're good. Sai, we good? So now we're going to select update and hit enter to update the configuration tool. So we're going to go down to number 8. Yeah, Ron says VNC allows GUI access to the Pi in traditional, in addition to terminal access via Putty. That is totally correct. You must have a keyboard and monitor connected to the Pi for the VNC to work. Had no idea. So I don't get into, whenever I build my Pis for Node-RED, I build them with without X windows. I go into the OS Lite configuration, which is an option that you can build your Pi with. So we built this Pi with the full configuration, with Windows, with all of the options, and but you can go in and just run a Node-RED server it's called headless, and you don't have anything connected into it, and except the power in the Ethernet cable, and it doesn't run anything in the background. But that's another topic. We are going to continue on with the wiki here. So we're down here at option number 8. We're going to update this tool to the latest version. And it's going to go out to the Raspberry Pi servers and download the latest version of that tool. And it's going to go down and download. And it's going to come back up to the screen, and it's got the latest version installed. Okay. Next, we're going to go down to advanced options. It's number 6. And we're going to hit enter. The first option is A1, expand the file system. We're going to click on that, and it's going to resize the partition, and it's going to be enlarged at the next reboot. We're going to get to that. We're just going to click OK here. Is everyone following along? Give me a thumbs up if you're good. The next thing on the list here, let's see. So we're going to reboot the Pi. So let's reboot the Pi. So let's hit the tab button, and let's go down to Finish and hit Enter. Would you like to reboot now? Sure. Let's reboot. Going to reboot, and it's going to close my Putty connection. So we're going to have to re-log into the Pi after it gets done rebooting. So we're going to give it a little bit here, and we're going to reboot. One thing that you can do if you still got the Pi Putty session up, you can come up here to the window and right-click. And you can come down and choose Restart Session. And that should restart the session here. And it's already back up and running. So it's got a login. If you can see down here at the, see right there? I'm going to log in as Pi. Pi at node red test password. So I'm going to type in my password. And I'm up and running. I'm back into the Pi after we resize the partition. Okay. I'm going to type in clear to get me to a blank screen. Okay. So now we are going to do a upgrade of all of the packages that were not upgraded or were upgraded between the time that the image that we downloaded from the net to now have been upgraded. So what we're going to do is everyone back up on the Putty screen? Let's make sure that everyone's back up and puttied into the Pi and logged in, and we're at the command prompt like I see now. Everyone give me a thumbs up. Okay, you're going too fast. Please help me. I'm drowning. Give me some sign of life here. Mark's good. Edward's good. Cy, are you good? Yep, there he is. Kevin, are you good? Who else is good? Let me know. Put your issues and comments. Steve's good. All right, very good. So now we're going to update the Pi. All right, everyone's good. Good deal. Hopefully, your Pi picked up your router address, your gateway, and your Edward's gotta pee. Edward, go pee and come back. Actually, no. First, hang on, Edward. Don't go pee yet. We're gonna type this command in. We're gonna type in. We're ready to go, and then you can go pee. Sudo apt update. Oh no, you got to type in sudo for right. Apt update. And it's going to go through the update process. Okay. And now, well, first it's going to get all of the packages that it can upgrade. So now we want to do a sudo apt full upgrade and hit enter. Oh my gosh, holy moly. This is going to take a while. All right. We've got 179 megabit of new packages to install. This might take a while. So what we're going to do is we are going to hit, do you want to continue? Yes. And as you can see, now you can go, Edward. It's going to go and get all of those packages and update all of those packages from the internet. Sai, the command was, the two commands that you want to run was sudo, sudo, apt update. So I'll put it in the chat here. So sudo apt update. And after that is done, you want to do sudo apt full -upgrade. Yes, full upgrade. And it's going to go through and it should give you a percentage on how long it's going to, well, not how long it's going to take, but the percentage that it is done at the bottom. So here it's reading some change logs. Yep, Sai, you missed the dash. Yep, you got to do the dash. So it's going to download, and it is going to update the Pi, and it's doing that. Oh, this is going to take a while. It's 8:43 here. Hopefully we'll be done by 9 p.m. Sai says, trying to watch this on my phone while working on the Pi on the screen. Yep. It's a typical thing. Yep. There is a command that I typically don't do a full upgrade. I just do, instead of full -upgrade, I do, I think it's sudo apt just upgrade, not full upgrade, just upgrade. And that takes a lot less, but yeah, we're going to do a full upgrade. Kevin says, Kyle, can you use a Pi 3 as well? Might take a second. Yes, you can use a Pi 3. Node-RED will, it'll run a little bit slower, but you can totally use a Pi 3. Yep. Yep. You can even run this on a Pi 0 if you really want to. Just think, you know, it's, yeah, Ron says it's not resource intensive at all. You know, a lot of the dashboard screens and a lot of the computation take part on the computer that you're running the web page on after you load Node-RED. So, yeah, you can totally run it on something that doesn't have a lot of horsepower. Rich says, actually doing sudo apt upgrade took about the same time as a full upgrade. Good to know. Well, we're at 10% here. And we're going to let this roll. So as this is rolling, is anybody out there, have they got Node-RED up and running and done anything cool with it? Have you loaded Node-RED? Are you still at the screen where you're about ready to load Node-RED? What are people at here? As this is moving forward here, I'm going to go to another screen. I'm going to go to my Node-RED. So I've been working on this N1MM database overview screen that I've got some flows here that I've been working on. Here's the main flow that I've been working on. Here's some radio info. A lot of this is repetition. Here's we're going to make, I've got a screen that if you're in a multi-op, it's going to pin all of the operators within that multi-op against one another. Here's some band stats. So if you come over here and click on the dashboard, click on your Yeet button. So this is what it looks like here. And I'm getting all of this information from N1MM. So this is the main screen. As you make contacts, great circle lines and pins are put on the dashboard here. Keeps track of your last run QSO, your last run search and pounce. Here's the current QSO that was just put into N1MM. Got some bar graphs over here on QSO rates. And then some radio information down here at the bottom. Click on radio info, and this gets all of the information from all the radios in the multi-op. This is the op competition. See if it's going to pop up here. Yep. So this basically pins all the operators against one another and makes it a game. So you can see WT2P is in first place. Whiskey Z0 Whiskey is in second. I'm in third. And then I've got the score, the QSOs, multi, your QSO rate for the first hour, your QSO rate for the second hour, how many busted calls you got, and then I'm working on some trending here on what the trending looks like, and then I've got some graphs here. Mark says, oh no, he's talking to Don. Don uses Node-RED at work for monitoring servers with IPPMI. Very cool. And then Steve says, completed commands with the Wiki and Node-RED running, and I've got the screen with my browser on another computer. Okay, hang on, Steve. We're getting to that. My Node-RED, I think, is still updating. Oh, no, mine is done. Well, let me switch over here. So this is the op competition. You can see it's got some stuff here. And then some band stats, if it's going to load. Why wasn't it not loading? Here we go. So you can do some stats by band, and I'm trying to make this to the point where it's all configurable. So you get to this configuration screen, and you type in all of the configuration for the main screen. So you so it's not centric to my computer or my server. It's you can set it up for any server you want. So. All right, we are ready to go. That took less time than I thought, which is great. All right, so let's go back to the wiki here. Let me scroll this over here. All right, so now we have, Mark's at 49%. We're going to give it a couple more minutes here to get everyone caught up. Whenever you are done, give me a thumbs up or done in the chat so I know that Paul's at 75% now. All right, we're going to give it another minute here. Yep, Edward's not done yet. Mark's at 58%. Those Pi 3s take a little bit longer because obviously they don't have the computing power as the Pi 4. No, Cy, that was Missouri QSO Party that I ran a simulation on for that contest. So what it does is that dashboard, it takes UDP data directly from N1MM, and you can push it to Node-RED and capture all of that data. So all you have to do is go into N1MM and configure it to push the contacts, the radio information, and the score to Node-RED, and it parses it and puts it in a database and does everything for you. So. Don says the Pi 4s are $69 at Micro Center, and that's down from, oh, well, that's good. I've got a Micro Center here. I went in a couple weeks ago, and they were not in stock. So I was going to go back actually this weekend and see if I could get another one. No, Cy, Node-RED does not have a native database. You have to Pi 400. What is a Pi 400? I don't even know what a Pi 400 is. Cy, Node-RED does not have a native database. You have to load SQLite through the apt-get. So you do sudo apt-get install SQLite 3, and it installs it. Pi 400s. All right, I'm going to have to click on Pi 400. What is a Pi 400? Oh. I see. Yeah. I gotcha. It's the keyboard with the Pi integrated into it. Yeah. Yep. Those are cool. It's got a keyboard and a Pi all built in, and a mouse. How much are those? They're $70. Not bad. It's not bad at all. Steve asks, how is this Node-RED different than what is already installed in the Pi under programming? Well, Node-RED is not installed under programming. Oh, it's probably like a start menu under programming, right? I don't think Node-RED is installed by default. Tango Oscar Mike showed up. Hello, Tom. What's happening? Yep, the Pi built into the keyboard will work great. All right. How's everyone doing? Has everyone got to this point where they're back at the command prompt and we're ready to go? We only got a few more steps left. Only a few more steps left. Oh, Python. Yeah, Python's already. Python and Perl and a lot of those programming languages are already installed by default. Ooh, roads are icier. Slick. Ooh, yeah. Well, sometimes you don't want a 4x4 on ice, right? Right, Tom? Anyway, go subscribe to Tango Oscar Mike, N3WS. Got a very good YouTube channel, does a lot of POTA. Everyone go subscribe to Tom, Tango Oscar Mike. Type in N3WS POTA, and you'll get there. All right, here we go. So the next thing we want to do is we want to reboot this thing. So I type in, according to the wiki, let's type in sudo and shutdown and tac FR and now. Not really sure what the F is, but the R is for reboot. And then click or hit enter, and it's going to reboot. Gonna reboot. So that little trick that I showed you a minute ago where you can, force reboot maybe? Yeah. I'm not really sure. I just used the TAC-R. Or you can use the command sudo reboot. That'll do it too. Just if you type in shutdown, I think the default is... thanks, Don. See you later. I think the default is to halt. You don't want the halt because the halt will not reboot the Pi. All right, so we're going to do that little trick where you come up to the bar up here, and you right-click, and you come down here to restart session, and it's going to click the login over here. I'm going to log in as Pi. Going to type in my password, and I'm back in and running. And I'm going to type in clear. No, Mike. Do not type in what Mike put in the chat. He's being don't type that in. TAC F also closes all apps and services. Okay, will do. All right. So now we're back up to the Pi where we're to the command prompt. So now, according to the wiki here, we're going to do a sudo ras pi-config, and we're going to get back into raspi config. Select interface options and then VNC. So I thought we already did this. All right. Looks like we're gonna enable it again just to make sure. So click on interface options and select VNC. So we're gonna go down to I3. And would you like the VNC server to be enabled? Gonna click yes. Okay. Right arrow and select finish. Not really sure why we did that. We might have to clean that that part of the wiki up. But so now on your Mac or PC, download VNC Viewer, install it, and run VNC Viewer. Enter the IP address of the IP. So you don't have to do this. I'll tell you right now, if you get to this point, you are ready to run the installer for no red. I don't run, like I said, I don't run X Windows. I run this thing headless. So let's get out of this. And so tab over to finish and get to the command prompt. I run it like this. I don't run X Windows. I don't run anything else. I just run it. What you're seeing is what I run. Now, if you want to, yes, Ron says, remember, VNC is only if you want the GUI access to the Pi, not necessarily if you, it's not necessary unless you want it. You can do the limited stuff you want with Putty. Yes, I think all the stuff that we're going to do with Node-RED, you can totally do with Putty. Now, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to shut the stream down. I think that we've done enough for today. I think that we've got everything up and running. If you're to this point, give me a thumbs up on if you're to this point. I'm going to give you a little preview of, in 2 weeks, we're actually going to load Node-RED. So if you go out to, if you go and type in Raspberry Pi, Node-RED, that first screen or that first Google search that's coming up, it's going to take you to this website. You can be adventurous if you want, but we're going to do this together in 2 weeks, is this bash script right here. You can copy that into your Putty. So you can copy and then come over to your Putty. Now, if you just right-click, it's going to automatically paste it in there. And you can hit the enter button. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to install this because I'm going to wait till next time. And that will install Node-RED. Now, there's some other things that you can do on that web page to get this up and running, like you want to auto start on boot. So you probably might want to type in that command, and you probably then want to reboot your Pi and get it up and running because it doesn't automatically start as a service. You want to enable it as a service on startup and reboot your Pi after you install it. But that is for another time. So, Ron says the bash script is also included in the Node-RED Group's Wiki page. You are correct, Ron. And if you come down here, we are not going to install .NET. If you have a Flex and you want to connect this up to your Flex, you can install .NET. But if you're going to run this on a different type of system, like if you've got an ICOM or a Yaesu or a Kenwood, you do not have to install .NET. .NET is for FR Stack. It is a program that you can load to do some more things with the Flex, and it integrates with Node-RED. But do not install .NET if you don't have a Flex, because you don't need it. And it's a little tough to install here. There are some gotchas here, but yeah, if you don't have a Flex, don't install .NET. Here's the command, like Ron said, to install Node-RED if you want to get ambitious. But we're going to cover that next time and get Node-RED up and running, and then we're going to start putting some nodes on the dashboard. So I think we've done enough for today. Is everyone good? Does anyone have any questions? If you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat. If you have any questions later, you can put the questions in the Groups IO. If you're not a member of the Groups IO, I highly suggest you go over to Groups IO and type in Node-RED ham radio and join that group. Sai, no, I am not. I was a member of Larry's List in Kansas City, but man, does that guy send out way too much email. So I had to drop off. I'm not a member of Larry's List, but it's a good mailing list. Don't get me wrong. It's just it was just too much email, so I gave it up. Ron, I will give you a call after this. Thanks, Ron, for moderating. Any questions? Any questions? Gonna pause here a minute and do some questions. Thanks for hanging out. If you got some benefit out of this, give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to do this every 2 weeks. 8 o'clock Central. Hopefully it won't be too late for the East Coasters. West Coasters can sit here and do some Node-RED with their dinner. So hopefully we got some people up and running and got them through some hurdles that they might have not gotten through. So the whole point is to get people up and running on Node-RED and use this as a learning experience. Kevin asked, do you install .NET before or after Node-RED? Kevin, I don't think it really matters, but I would install it before. Go ahead and install it before. Digital Rancher, thanks. Appreciate it. I'm just trying to help the Node-RED people out there get up and running. Just trying to, just like ham radio, just trying to be an advocate, right? Just trying to spread the word and get some people over the hump. You know, it's tough with technology out there. Sometimes it's some people just don't get along with technology. So hopefully we can go slow and get them through the steps of loading stuff and getting it up and running. It's not that hard. It just, you know, you kind of just need a good mentor and to have somebody show you how to do stuff. And hopefully we can all work together and ask some questions and get up and running, because if no one's here to help you, then what's the point, right? So trying to get everyone on the same page. All right, guys and gals, I'm going to shut her down. Thanks for hanging out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download this stream and I'm going to cut it into sections. I'm going to bookmark it, but I'm going to cut it into sections. So all my babbling and whatnot is all going to be cut down, and hopefully we will, it'll be a concise video. So if you want to go back and listen to this and refresh yourself or go through the steps again, you can. So there will be a condensed version of all of these steps to get you up and running. So very good. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Appreciate the kind words. And yeah, we'll get you up and running. That's the whole point of this. 73 y'all, and good night. See you later. How do I end the stream? I always forget how to end my own stream. Oh, I got to hit the red button. Okay, 73 guys.